Oh, wait.
Uh, uh, Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcast.
I'm
And
just I'm just gonna let you do the intro. I'm just gonna take my sweet time, uh, finding my cardigan. Where is my cardigan? Uh-uh. I'm not gonna rush or anything. Not gonna rush. Oh, here's a jacket. That's not quite what I'm looking for.
yeah, maybe put a little more rush into it, crazy Uncle Bruce, gotta, uh,
No,
yeah,
that's oh man. I had to do something for the cold open, as you guys know. I know we're doing a two-parter today. We're talking about um the two episodes we missed because we were busy, Joe was filming, and so we had to like combine we have to combine the last two episodes, which is it 7 and 8?
7 and 8, yes.
Yes.
2 episodes, 3 eliminations.
Oh yeah. It was we'll start from the beginning. So we all knew coming into that episode that, oh, it's going to be split down the middle, and then both will go to tribal council. And even the people themselves thought, oh, this means that everyone makes Shuri. And surprise, surprise, I called it though. I knew
Yeah,
it was going to happen. Oh no, the stakes are high for this one. Uh, because you want your person to win, not just because of the reward, but because you make jury at that
yeah,
point.
you at least know that you'll have a say in the game at the
Yeah.
end.
And like when that happened, I'm like thinking it one thing and then being like, oh, that's gonna happen. But like seeing the stakes were like risen to like not just 11, but like 12 or 13, because it's
Yeah.
like just, because now you're holding on, like you saw with Kelly, you're holding on for like everyone because it's like you let a lot of people down well, you let five people down.
Yeah.
Well, technically just one, but it's like it's one of the things where it makes that tribal council even more stressful, and it makes that just whole challenge more stressful.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it was smart too. I think this was also in response to some past seasons where we talked about jury placement and how that would influence how people would vote on the next tribal council and within the same episode. It was smart how they go into it totally blind, and the first elimination is not, I wouldn't say compromised or anything, influenced by the
Yeah.
last one. So they're just purely going in like, okay, we have no idea what's happened last time, but here we go. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Uh I I will say I was not a huge fan of this double elimination episode just because I feel like by how the teams were divided, it was very clear who goes home on each tribe. Like
Yeah.
they knew that they were pretty much screwed. Everyone else pretty much knew that those people were screwed. Like I think if both people made jury, then Sifu had a chance. I think then maybe they would have been willing to take out Bruce, specifically Kelly, because Kelly
Yeah,
wanted Bruce on the jury because she was close with him and she didn't want to have this whole relationship with him to mean nothing if he goes out pre-jury. Uh,
exactly.
and so, because Kelly, who's like the power player of the Bellow, who are basically deciding that tribal council, it's like very clear that they're just going to take out Sifu in this situation. Like he's the wild cards. It's the move that's not going to make anyone upset. Like if you take out Drew in that situation, you're going to have everyone at Reba gunning for you immediately.
Yeah.
Like it's very clear that that's what would happen. So it pretty much means that Sifu has to go. And then obviously Caleb, like you need to get two people to side with you to go to rocks for you, like when you're clearly the biggest threat. Like
Yeah.
like that's
I mean,
so much to get.
well, I mean, and I think he was kind of smart too, with Caleb. It's like because we hear about this all the time, it's like threat equity is always like important, but it's like having that figure there, like having that target always around
Yeah.
takes heat off of you. So like he was smart in being like, it is actually wise to keep me around because, it's the threat shield.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that he targeted Dee and Julie, the Regal women, gets put on with them with Austin, their ally. It's just like Austin's not going to make a move against his own people this early. Like
No,
I like they started saying like a lot that he's scared and maybe that something would happen, but also if he did flip, I mean, he would have just lost complete trust in his alliance, and he
exactly.
would have then been a renegade and vigilante going through the rest of the game. Like it just wasn't it was just very clear like this is just kind of what had to happen for
Yeah.
both tribes, for both
Well, I mean, like
teams.
tying the votes is always risky. Yeah, I mean, like if it's possible, yeah. I mean, like I get Jake's like logic behind it.
Yeah.
However, I guess he didn't realize how tight they actually were.
Yeah.
As well as like, obviously in order to tie it, they needed one more person to do the plan. And I know I'm like skipping way ahead, but like the whole thing about dogpiling.
Mhm.
Um, Jake brought it up the very next episode. It was like the whole dogpiling thing that seems to have been the meta of this season a lot. It's like we're putting all our votes on one person,
Mhm.
and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's
So
interesting how I feel like Survivor and Big Brother has parallels very often in some of their seasons,
yeah,
because I think Big Brother had a lot of dog piles in this recent season that we had too.
yeah,
Like there's a lot of very clear like everyone is pretty much voting for this person. Maybe there's one stray, but like and
yeah.
it feels like this season is kind of mirroring that in some aspects where it's like everyone's trying to get everyone to vote with each other to not create the weird tensions back at camp.
The weird tension and also the, target.
Yeah.
Because like, because it's like, oh, you when you take a shot at someone, it creates that awkward thing. And like even like Jake knew at the end of it, it's like he messed up and he was like, Julie, it wasn't necessarily for you. It was like this and stuff. And he had to do that damage control with her
Mhm.
the very next day. Or not even the next day, like when we returned to camp with them. Um, so, it's a tough thing because it's like a social game and also subliminally, even if it's not actually the case, it's like, okay, I'm showing or at least proving that I'm willing to work with them.
Yeah.
Whereas someone who's like going against the grade, where it's like, no, screw you guys, I want to go, vote for this person. And then that just puts a target.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's definitely been the strategy. And I feel bad for Jake, honestly. He's trying to play the game, but no
Yeah,
one's wanting to play the game with him. If this season's meta is not the meta that Jake wanted for Survivor.
no, no, it wasn't. Well, not until I think episode 8, but to
Mhm.
kind of go back to 7 a little bit with the meta of everything, like another thing that I want to mention, no one realized that Austin
Yeah.
sacrificed his vote. And like he was even doubling down. Unlike Caleb was like, oh yeah, 12 votes canceled against me. I'm guessing that's a record. He's like, yeah, 12 votes. 12. No one sacrificed their vote. I don't know
Yeah.
if he kept that fully to himself because I know him and Drew are tight, or if they haven't just gotten around to like being like, hey, I sacrificed my vote.
Mhm.
But right now, he has two idols that I don't want to say no one knows about. They know that he has one because of the amulet twist.
Yeah.
But now that he has kind of like two, he's in a pretty decent position, I would say. Just like how his
Yeah.
alliance is forming, he doesn't seem to be like the major target as well. And
Yeah.
so like I think he has a pretty good, at least I would say I don't want to he may be good until 6, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe 7. Like, I don't think he's gonna be targeted in these next few episodes.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, yeah, he's got 2 idols to, get him just a little bit further, win a couple immunities. It's very likely that he's sitting in the finale at least.
Yeah. I was even saying, because I was talking to some Survivor people they were both part of HHN. And they were like saying, "Oh, who do you kind of see at the end?" And I'm like, you know, finale wise, I wouldn't say it's like the easiest route, but I could see Austin winning the game. Now, edit and all that stuff, also, I wasn't looking into that, but just like thinking purely from like gameplay, because if I'm looking, I think Drew is a 0 vote finalist. I
Mhm.
see Drew making it to the end, but I don't see him winning.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know that there's a theory right now that people are saying that because right now we have 3 people who have gotten a backstory on this
Yeah.
season that has been shown, and that is Dee, Kendra, and Jake. So in backstories, every winner in this modern era has had a backstory. So some people were saying like, what if those 3 people who got backstories are going to be the final 3?
It's a strong theory, especially because like what we saw with like previous seasons, they give a backstory to like literally the first boots and
Yeah.
whatnot. And so like it was kind of like this time around, they're like, all right, we may not garner that much screen time to people that are going to be eliminated right then, like,
Mhm.
so I think it is. We still have what, 4 more episodes until finale?
Yeah, I believe so.
Fourth,
Uh,
yeah,
1, 2, 3.
because that would bring us to final five.
Yeah.
So, it is something where, yeah, I can see them maybe doing 1 or 2 more. It's really tough to say. Um, but I would say if you told me that was kind of the final three, I can see it. I can
Mhm.
definitely see it.
Yeah, I think in that case, yeah, I mean, I'd say D probably would win out of those
Yeah,
3, and then I mean, either she gets all the votes, or that one stray, and we get another 7-1 vote again, and
yeah.
one person just vote for a Kendra or Jake. But yeah, that's if the backstory is true, that would be the case. But I still believe in the math theory, and I am still saying Emily has got this.
I will say, I feel like last episode they did seven, it didn't feature her as much, I felt like. And
Mhm.
then I was like, oh, a lot of the narratives kind of shifting away from her. But I feel like 8 did kind of like bring her
Yeah.
back into this discussion a bit more.
Yeah,
Um,
these were the 2 least Emily focused episodes, 7 and 8.
yeah,
I would just say that like both episodes she only got 2 confessionals, which is very different compared to her like 7s and
free, yeah.
6s.
Granted,
Yes.
when you're losing so much, not like
Yeah.
throwing shade or anything, but like, we've talked about this several times. You get more coverage if you keep going to like tribal council and have to play the game more. That's just how it goes. And because she went to 5, or no, 4 out of the 5 tribal councils that were
Mhm.
pre-merge, obviously she was going to get a lot more attention.
Yeah, yeah. I also think that her early like way of targeting Bruce is actually now kind of benefiting her in a weird way, because
Yeah,
people now had that perception that Emily is this type of person. Um, but the thing is, like, they're seeing now Emily not being that person, but that first impression is still there. So
yeah,
it's actually very possible that people will take her very deep, maybe even to the final 3, thinking that she's going to be like that at Final Tribal, and thinking that you could easily just beat her. Think they can easily beat a Cass McClellan. But when in actuality, her story and her personality and like her likability is actually way better than
yeah.
anyone thinks.
I think that's one of the things you always have to be careful too. It's like latching on to a certain idea about
Mhm.
what a person is. And I'm guilty of this too. We all are.
Yeah.
And there's times on this channel where I've latched onto an idea of someone and, then was totally like, once I stepped out of that like perception I had of them, be like, oh, okay. Um, but yeah, I think it's interesting when it's like there. I think I want to say maybe a similar to a Gabler in the sense of like, okay, she's never really the biggest target. She has some stuff that at Final Tribal she could potentially be like, hey, I did this. I'm the lone survivor of the Lulu losers. I had a target on my back day one and this, and I was always with the numbers. Granted, we have a lot more gameplay left to play up until then, but since we're in the merge, we are literally halfway through the contestants. It's that time where we're like thinking of like, okay, how are people looking to actually win this game? Because a lot of the big moves come out now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And this is the time for someone like Emily. I think just be everyone's friend. Just be low. Don't make any sudden movements. Almost,
Yeah.
and like let yourself get to the final six, final five, and then see analyze who's the biggest threat out there. Make the move against them. Bam, that's your resume move, along with your pre-merge, surviving the
Story.
Lulu
Yeah.
losers. I mean, and that's a tough story to beat.
I know. It's like, and she's a smart woman. I'm pretty sure, like, she can craft her story very well. It has
Mhm.
that strategy. It has that personal touch to it. It's funny. I just watched Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which, if you guys haven't seen it, even if you haven't watched The Hunger Games, any of that, great movie, great story. And it like, because it's like a reality show, it's actually like how it became more of a reality show. The Hunger Games became more of a reality show,
Mhm.
as well as like showing President Snow's like backstory, but phenomenal. But like you see how it's like making you more human and making you more relatable or something you can get behind can influence so much the audience. And when you're at that final tribal council, your audience is the jury.
Yeah.
And depending on how you can sway them, even if their minds are made up, which a lot of people are like, that's kind of like what 41 through 44 have been. Their minds were kind of made up already.
Mhm.
But like, you never know because you just have to win four minimum five. No, wait, have to do math. You need at least 5 votes, four to tie it.
Mhm.
And one of those things, like if you can get one vote for yourself, that's another vote away from them, and the numbers start to look more in your favor.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's great that Caleb got to be on the jury here. I think Caleb, if Emily makes it to the end, will be Emily's big cheerleader. Like, you always need, when you're at final three, to have one person who is going to like speak up for you. Like, because you can speak all kinds of things, but if you don't have someone who can back it up or is like willing to agree with you,
Yeah,
it means nothing. What you're saying can mean nothing.
yeah. Um, I kind of sometimes that hits too close to home. Yeah. Um, but no, like having that cheerleader is always important because like especially when it comes to like selling yourself, you want, obviously people know they want that you want to win. And there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong. It's like you came on the show, yeah, to have a fun time and be on Survivor, but like especially if you're at the end and you want $1 million, it's like
yeah,
you're going to
yeah.
be pulling out all the stops because it's like not many people are in that opportunity to get
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah, I mean, look back to Co Wrong. I think the fact that Neil gets taken out really affected people not believing Aubrey's game. And
Yeah.
you saw it, like a lot of people did not believe what she was saying, and a lot of them, and then after watching the season, said, "Oh, now I see what what they were saying," but they couldn't be able to know it in that moment because they just didn't have someone to back her up.
Perception is reality.
Yep.
And that can always be a thing where you always have to like be aware of. And so there are so many things you have to juggle in Survivor. Like,
Yeah.
and no, it is a very challenging game because of like, how deep we even talk about it. Like I
Uh,
was talking about it with these Survivor friends, and like I would say they're pretty decent fans, like too. But like you and I, we deep dive and like all these little things, and even them were like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm like, when I typed all that out because I talked to you, and so I know stuff way deeper
yeah.
because of you. So credit to you.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's the
you make
same
me
thing.
sound smart.
Yeah, it's the same thing. I watch Survival with friends, and they'll be like really excited about something, and then I'll like bring out like something even way more deeper. And like, what?
Yeah.
How? Oh, okay. Like it's like,
The complexities of this game are so much deeper than
yeah,
I think maybe some of even the good contestants know, where
yeah,
it's like, you know, it's so, and not only that, it's like, even if you know all of this, you can't show it off too much because it's
yeah,
like, and that's the thing. It's just like all this stuff makes Survivor such a hard game to actually play and win because there's so
exactly.
many things you're balancing gameplay wise.
Yeah, yeah, you can't focus on just one thing when you're playing the game. There are so many different assets or different things that you got to be factoring into to every single vote. That if you get onto a one track mind, it usually doesn't go well for you.
I just feel, and also, yeah, I just feel like with a game like Survivor, where it is a very fluid game, because things are changing all the times, and some things you might know from previous seasons might even be altered. One of my favorite moments from episode 8, where, at 10, they do the sit out challenge, where it's like, all right, if you want rice, you have to sit out. Jeff just whips out a knife. It's like, I'm not negotiating.
Yeah, I was not
I'm
expecting
not.
that.
And then it's like, that's your rice that's being down. And then people are like, Jesus Christ. It's like, it lights a fire. Like Drew was just like, oh yeah, I'll sit out. Which was like nuts. I loved it because
Mm.
it just feeds into this total drama season where it's like Jeff became Chris McClane in that moment and was like, yep, you're losing your food now.
Yep.
Go, it's sticking. It's
Yeah. Yeah, they lost like half that rice. Like that was enough rice to get them through the whole game. Now, it's probably just going to get them through like another week of living. So they probably won't
yeah.
have that rice for at least the last few days.
Like I don't know editing wise how long it actually took Katura to finally like be like, okay,
Hmm.
I'll sit out. But it felt like when you're seeing the rice fall out that fast, it's like, oh my gosh, like every second counts. It's like
Yeah.
and Jeff was like, you don't know, whatever I'm gonna do. At Tribal Council later on, he was like, yeah, I'm a little unhinged with it. Loved it.
Yes,
Um,
yes. Yeah, that was great moments there. But honestly, I've been just wanting to talk about one thing this entire season, and it's happened. The Survivor auction is back.
it
And
was so great.
oh my gosh, we got 16 minutes of the Survivor auction in this
Commercial
episode.
break, even.
Yeah. It was so nice to finally be back. And I definitely think that they did a lot of things to improve it to at least
Yeah,
make it so that way it's not gamified to an extreme where people are holding money just to bid on one thing at the end. Um,
yeah,
Now, I will say there is something that I wasn't a big fan of, and it's how it progresses later on, where it's very clear whoever has the most money just needs to buy that item. Like
yeah,
you just do it. Like, and to me, it felt like less about than those people personally wanting certain things and
yeah,
being more, I guess I got to be the one to buy this thing.
yeah. That was one thing. Like I kind of saw, I noticed that too. And I think they kind of realized it as well. Where it was
Yeah.
like, because like you even see with Kelly, where she was like, "Oh, I was caught up in the moment of like buying stuff now," Um, at any moment, I could be the person with the most amount of money, and then
Yeah.
lose. And then it was poetic that as a result uh of Bruce's lackadaisical approach to getting money, which, by the way, common misconception about the tortoise and the hare. It's not about taking your time about things. It's about
Yeah.
not getting too cocky.
Yeah.
And he got too cocky.
Yeah. He took it too literally.
Yeah. The tortoise and the hare, it's a common misconception with that fable. Um, so much so that I feel like I need to correct anyone who ever brings it up and uses that.
Yeah.
But you know, uh, but yeah, I feel like the money aspect of it, where people are going in with different amounts, I thought that was a cool idea. It
Yeah.
was a thing where it's like, yeah, people having to spend their money, and then it was like basically like, oh, whoever makes it to, like whatever I even like the fact that it was like, oh, whatever the number drawn is, that's the one who, you know,
Yeah.
do it. Maybe they kind of reverse it next season, where it's like whoever has the least amount of money.
No, I think you want to do high. What I would do in this scenario is whoever has the most money when it ends, uh you don't you then get a choice between two items. One is a good item, one is a bad item. Um and therefore creating a risk still because you could potentially get something bad, but also maybe you get one last good thing. I wouldn't say an advantage in this. It could still be, like the best meal of the day or something like that,
Yeah,
while the other thing is a lose votes or so something that could negatively impact. So that way, at least everyone is aware that it could be bad, but also they're not going to be so risk averse to just constantly spend every money on everything. That at least then it can feel more like, okay, bid on what you want, and if it happens to be you, maybe will work out, maybe it won't.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's pretty good idea. Because like, obviously it's the first time bringing their back. I don't want to say, whenever they introduce something or reintroduce something like this, the first time they do it, they kind of like, okay, and then they can work out the kinks and bring it back next season a bit more refined.
Mhm.
And I feel like next season, I think your suggestion was pretty good. Maybe they might actually, that does sound like something they might actually do, because they kind of saw the meta of it. And
Mhm.
like, I agree. It played up to the suspense of it. It did. It's like, oh, when will the last item be up for bid?
Yeah,
But it did have, like that's what it became. It was like, oh, making
yeah,
sure that you just spend all your money as soon
yeah.
as you can.
Yeah, and I like the, choosing a number for how many items will be done. Like
Great.
like like I did like that. It just was, and Kendra really did start it. Like she bid $480 on
The eyes.
on pretzels and a beer.
Oh wait, Kendra, my bad.
Yeah.
I was thinking Katura.
Yeah, no, no, yeah, Kendra started the whole thing, and that set the tone. It was like, okay,
Yeah,
one person is already not going to potentially be at risk here, um, and you just kind of see like almost everyone is betting all their money for the most part.
yeah,
There's a few exceptions with like some of the covered items like early on, but like once once like item 4 or 5 happens, it's like, okay, you're just gonna have to bid everything.
yeah. Which makes sense.
Mhm.
Speaking of what I brought up about the fish eyes, I love
Mhm.
how Katora was like, oh, no, I'm just not going to
Yeah.
be able to eat this. And then Jeff was like, does anyone want it? We'll bid. And then Austin was just like, yeah, I'll take it. And he took like a gorilla bite out
Oh,
of it
yeah.
too. I was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, food is food. Protein, like, and that's the one thing about like I would say about Katura. I'm like, hey, this is still protein. You are not guaranteed to get anything else.
Yeah, that's all her money.
Exactly. It's like you already spent money on this. You might as well, just so you can get some. clearly they're not going to feed you anything poisonous. It
Yeah.
is edible. It's not going to taste good, but if it settles some of the grumbles in your tummies, just, you know, bite the fisheye instead of bite the bullet and
Yeah.
just like eat it. Uh,
Yeah.
I would have maybe asked for some hot sauce or like maybe some salt or pepper or something,
Yeah.
like joke around with Jeff like that. But it's like, hey, food is food sometimes. And if you're starving, I guess Katora wasn't that hungry.
Yeah, she just said nah. She kind of like gave like a little like touch her tongue on it,
Nibble.
but she
Yeah.
was not. And then yeah, I think Austin. I think he just. I think it was bid $100, you get some screen time. You get you get to be seen eating. Because clearly they're gonna want to show
Yeah.
that
Someone,
someone taking a bite of that, and he had way more money to spare. Like he had
yeah.
still $600 after spending that 100. So it wasn't like he was going to be out of the auction. Like Katura.
No,
So
no, no, that was it's just that was just like a fun moment. Yeah, the
yeah,
auction, it came back. It was fun to watch. And they even had the suspense. It had the stakes. And then I like the front part. Yeah, in the beginning where it's like they were all so excited. Kendra was the one that got the note about everything. And like, the pure like joy that was on her face, or like she was so happy to see it back because it's like something where it was a Survivor staple
hmm
for 15 years. And then
yeah.
once it was like gone, it was like, we gotta miss it.
Yeah, it's to me one of my favorite parts of Survivor. Like I do regularly watch the YouTube Survivor auction videos just because they're just so fun. Um,
Yeah,
it's kind of just seeing pretty much like your main cast of that season just having fun, eating food items, being upset when they get the bad food items. Like there's just so many just fun elements to it that it's just great to watch.
yeah. And sometimes it's like a little breath of fresh air where it's
Yeah,
like, everyone's just having fun.
yeah,
Granted, yeah, there might be an advantage or like a twist, but it's like, for the most part, people are just fun. They're happy to get food.
yeah. And I'm glad that there's no twists. I think that is the right call. After season 30, when everything was so gamified,
Yeah,
to just say, don't think about the game too much right now. Let's try to get some foods. Let's let's try to have fun with this. Was
no,
really the important thing.
yeah. And yeah, like I said, great moment. Yeah, and then with Bruce losing his vote, that was very obviously a big deal because it's like, oh crap. But the fact that he was able to gain immunity, he pretty much
Yeah,
got safety without power. Granted,
yeah,
he didn't have to leave tribal council or anything. He
yeah.
still had some like influence over it.
He was just a
But
spectator.
yeah, which is kind of cool because it's like Bruce also made Survivor history again. Uh, you
Yeah,
know, and it's always cool. I like having Bruce around. It's not like I dislike Bruce or anything. I just feel like he adds a lot to the season, even if he's not
yeah.
like a character who we get to like know personally as much as we did, you know, other people. But
Uh,
he is adding a lot of like drama and entertainment value to
yeah.
the season.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the highlights in terms of like entertainment value.
Yeah,
Like obviously you can tell from editing he's not winning this game.
no,
Like they dunk on him every chance they get. But that's what that makes it so much fun, like way more funnier is that then he somehow survives and someone else goes home in a situation in that episode where if Bruce had a vote, you're looking more like a 5-5 vote, where all old Bello sticks together and Reba plus Emily could be together. And now Emily is like more of actually in the middle, and maybe she even switches over to Bello to avoid a rock draw. Like things could
Yeah.
happen like that, but the fact that Bruce doesn't have this vote, I think really created chaos.
And I mean, this was another thing too. This is the first tribal council apart from this is like the first tribal council in the merge or since mergatory or the mergatory portion where it's like a straight up thing where everyone except who wins immunity is vulnerable.
Mhm.
And like they even mentioned it last episode or in episode 7. It was like we still are trying to figure out where the like lines are because, since J Maya's elimination, it's the mergatory where half of people are immune, stuff like that. There hasn't been like a straightforward like, oh, this is the tribe voting this person out because, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's like being like where the lines truly lie because like oh if Sifu and Bruce get immunity because of the whole like oh they won the mergatory thing and they're already in the merge now, it's like oh well they're not our actual target or we can't target them right now so we have to like placehold that plan so you don't truly know anyone's true intentions until I would say this vote. So it was a
Yeah.
pretty impactful one too because it shows the direction of the game and
Hmm.
how people were definitely trying to shut down this all women's alliance as well.
Yeah. All women's alliance, and I think the Reba Bello war is really manifesting now. And it's looking like Reba has the power right now. After taking out Kelly here,
Yeah,
they got Emily on their side, which
yeah,
means that's 5 against, Bello's 4 now.
yeah. Which I'm just gonna say, Reba got lucky
Yeah.
because they were cannibalizing themselves when they got to Mergatory. They're like, yeah, we're gonna vote out. Yeah, I'm impersonating Drew. Yeah, we're gonna vote out Jade Maya because even though she has never once talked about not being loyal to us, she's not part of our 4. So we're just gonna get rid of her, even though we have 6. Um, and then Sifu, I understand because yes, he is a wild card, and he, still had some Reba members, at the very least, Dee and Julie, that he didn't like fully trust. It's a number away from Reba, but now they finally regained everything, and yeah, now they have Emily. However, what I think is going to be interesting about next episode, and this is also playing into the whole we haven't had like a clear cut tribal council yet.
uh,
3 people will not be able to vote,
yeah.
which is insane.
Yeah.
It's cool,
That's
but insane.
I mean, it's only 6 people are going to be voting. It's I yeah, that could be very important. Like if 3 Reba people or even 2 Reba people are the ones who get that can't vote,
Yeah.
then suddenly Bello can swing back and suddenly it goes back to pretty much being an even fight between them.
Which I think that's one of the fun things about the loser votes or something, even though it's not a straightforward tribal council that we've had yet. It's kind of fun because it's like, oh, it's not as straightforward. We don't know what to expect going
Mhm.
into this and how it'll play forward. And I think that's one of the great things about this season is you really don't know. We thought we had Survivor figured out, and then Jeff's like, no, we're gonna play around with things. We're gonna switch things up. We're gonna keep you on your toes. Like I think this is potentially a top 10 season,
Oh
in my
yeah.
opinion.
I was saying early on too. I think it has that potential to be a top 10 season, and
Like, yeah,
it's definitely in the attempted. It's definitely attempting right now.
yeah.
Obviously we still have a lot of game to play. Like we could still get another 4 or 5 episodes that aren't good, like that are kind of mediocre,
Yeah.
and that could impact it. But like right now, it's trying to be that top 10 season.
Like I've been excited for every single episode, and like there hasn't been one even when my winner pick
Mhm.
lost and stuff, I couldn't deny that that was a great episode.
Yeah.
Like, like and then like seeing how everything is playing out and seeing how like the stakes are risen, even if the double elimination one wasn't like the strongest episode,
Yeah.
it's still
It was
like
decent. Like it
it
wasn't
was
bad. And so the fact
yeah,
that your best episode is decent, I mean your worst episode is decent, like that's pretty
yeah.
good.
It's like even though yeah, which is like really cool. I feel like we're invested in like how everything is going. I think the twist that the game is presenting, it has a good balance where it's not like too overly complicated or anything like that. And
Mhm.
it's been fun to watch. So I will, even though this is the earliest both of us have lost our winner pick.
Yeah.
Uh, I was kind of like running through my head, and each time we at least had one person right before the finale. I think you lost or Omer at 6. And
Yeah.
so like that was like the latest.
Yeah.
Any other time it was like generally we had one of us had someone going into finale.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, this is I was so blown away. Did not expect Kelly going home here.
it made sense though.
Oh yeah, no, it makes sense like from gameplay wise. I was just like still thinking like, oh, they're just like kind of throwing in this Kelly thing at the end
Yeah.
of the talk just to like because otherwise it might just be too obvious that like Jake's the target here. So
Yeah.
let's just make it very clear like let's just try to make it seem like something might happen. Um
True.
and then obviously Jake plays a shot in the dark, does not work because obviously, I mean, I think it's obvious once Caleb makes it safe, like the odds of you getting it successful is going to be significantly less, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
know that they reset, but like I think Survivor got what they wanted, and it's probably just not going to happen again.
I
Um,
mean, it's a less than 20% chance of actually working.
yeah,
It's like sometimes if that's the play you feel like you need to do, 20% chance is better, or less than 20 is better than absolutely, like, or an 80% chance of going home is better than a 100% chance of going home.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I saw him play the shot in the dark, and I was like, okay, yeah, so that means Jake is getting the votes, and then they gave us
yeah.
3 Jake votes in a row, and it's like, oh man, it looks like it's all him. And then the Kelly vote came, and I was shocked. She was shocked. Uh, Bello was shocked.
Yeah.
Jake's reactions were gold. Like if you just watch him throughout this entire thing,
I was.
he
Yeah.
is so funny. Like he is just like
Dumbfounded. Well, I mean, because like, because of the whole dogpile thing, and he heard his names, and he knew that Bella
yeah,
wasn't like the best position.
yeah,
And because like you had the Reba, you had the females talking about getting rid. So like, it's like, oh, because like that involved Katura and Kelly. So
yeah,
like and Kendra. Or if like, oh, if it's an all women's alliance, 6 versus 4, or 6 versus 3, because you know Bruce can't vote. So like those don't seem like really great odds. So like
yeah,
I can understand, especially with how the votes have went in the past, why you might think that your ticket is punch. Especially because he admitted he was like, I haven't been playing Survivor great. It's so like I can understand how we could feel like it was the end of his game at that point.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, but Jake manages to, survive this and clearly he's happy, but it's also another case of, he is kind of out on the loop, like he doesn't fully know maybe what's going on, which is
Yeah.
not great for gameplay in terms of especially if he gets the end. If he is one of those 3
Jeff.
people. Oh, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you just froze again.
Oh no.
Are you there?
So did you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. It says my internet connection is unstable, so this is definitely me. But yeah, Jake, if we do get a situation of what I was saying about the backstory theory of D, Kendra, Jake, I mean, the fact that Jake's just currently kind of being dragged through the game. I mean, could be a potential Owen Knight situation with him, honestly.
I was thinking that. I was thinking that.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, there's
Yeah.
still gameplay. Sometimes it's like, sometimes it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And there is the possibility that he gets better at Survivor. Um, Especially because he put out this thing and was like, okay, now people are actually playing the game.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things he said after the shock was like, oh, people are actually playing Survivor now.
Uh-huh.
Um, I forget if I'm imitating him, I have to drop the R for Survivor. But no, like I don't want to count him out yet because I really do like Jake. I think like
Yeah.
he's a very personable guy. I feel like he's a relatable guy.
Yeah.
Uh and like yeah, so like I'm rooting for him. I do think he's not necessarily who I think is going to win the game
Yeah.
just based off like everything that's been happening so far. But you never know. Never count anyone out until
Yeah.
till the end because sometimes those end games, like a lot of people were like Lauren Lauren Harp from last season wasn't that impressive, too impressive pre-merge, mostly because she wasn't getting things. But like as the season went on and there were less people, she was getting more screen time, and people were like, "Oh shit, Lauren is awesome!" Like I already
Yeah.
knew that because I got to talk to her
Yeah.
and got to know her. But
I,
like,
I I knew from episode 1 when she rigged the rock draw so that way
yeah,
she got to go. Like I was like immediately I knew she was here to play the game. Where
yeah,
most people would not have been able to do something like that.
exactly. So, um, but like we didn't hear anything from her for so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
But then she started getting the screen time, and then we're like, oh, okay. Um, Almost the same thing with Heidi too, where her end game was just pretty on point, even though like obviously she, fumbled up a few times in the I would say like one with the advantage, two with this. Um, but it garnered her at least one more vote where maybe it
Hmm.
could have went to Carolyn instead,
Uh,
getting her that second place.
yeah.
So you
Yeah,
never know.
definitely. Definitely. Okay. Is there anything else we need to cover for these 2 episodes?
I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Yeah.
If anything kind of pops in my head when we go over confessional counts and MVP LVPs, I'll let you know.
Okay, sounds good. I'm just gonna be doing the confessional accounts for episode 8, but I'll also be telling you what Caleb and Sifu's confessionals ended at. So Sifu ended with 11 confessionals, so not a loss.
No,
Which is crazy because I feel like he was should have had so much more. Like I think he's such a big personality.
exactly.
Um, so yeah, that's strange. Because then compared to Caleb, Caleb had 44 confessionals. Um, Still the most, if even after the confessionals of this previous episodes, still Caleb would have the most confessionals if he was still in the game.
Man.
Yeah.
I mean, because he was super important and he was playing the game pretty well. I wouldn't say pretty well. He was because he obviously became too big of a target. But like
Yeah.
there was a lot of gameplay that surrounded him, I will say.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense.
Yeah. Kelly ends with 30 confessionals. So a decent amount, decent amount. Um, okay, and then into the people who are still in the game, Emily is still the confessional leader with 40 confessionals. Um, but the thing is, Drew is right behind her now with 37 confessionals.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's possible that he overtakes her in the next episode. Um,
Yeah, I can see it,
yeah.
but I don't know. I feel like because Emily has been in the top two for so long that it's only a matter of time. Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. Because she's been in the leading position for so long. Yeah, I wouldn't count her out just yet. I
Yeah.
think a lot depends on like what happens in next episode.
Yeah. Also, I believe Drew doesn't have his safety without power anymore. I believe he was only good up until final 10.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that was the case. So, he should not have it anymore.
Uh, depending depending on what details you said, he could still technically, you
Yeah,
know, it depends on like how you leverage something, even if it doesn't have power. But we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah. Um, and then third place in confessionals is Katora with 32, even though I think 28 of those do deserve to go to Bruce.
Yeah.
Uh yeah. And then we got a bit of a tie here with 29 confessionals, Kendra and Bruce at 29. Austin is the next with 28 confessionals. And then
Okay.
it looks like D comes in next with 25 confessionals. Um, and then is there anyone else here? Oh, Jake with 24 confessionals. And then Julie is in last place here with 17 confessionals.
Huh. That's weird. I thought Jake would have more.
Yeah, I know. I thought I was gonna say earlier too, like I feel like he's gotten so much screen time that it feels like he's gonna be like at least in like the finale. But I then
Yeah.
look at this and I'm like, oh, wait a second, he's actually second least amount of confessionals.
Well, I think sometimes I don't want to say, but I think this season has proven twice that sometimes they will, whoever has the most confessionals, they're not afraid to be like, yeah, they got a
Yeah,
lot of screen time, but we're going to take them out. First
yeah,
with, Sabia and then with Caleb.
yeah. Did you hear about season 46 in terms of hours?
That it was going to retain the same amount.
90-minute episodes, except for the first episode will be 2 hours, and the second episode will also be 2 hours.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Um, that means a lot of crazy stuff is going to happen. I'm for it. I dig it.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, something to be interested in. Hopefully they're not just giving more screen time because they're like, oh, it's working this season. Let's add in an extra time for those first two episodes. And hopefully
Yeah.
they're doing it because they have the content to be able to make it work.
I think this season kind of proved that they can technically, they can still, because I know part of it is,
Oh, he froze again.
I don't know how far. Oh yeah, you did as well.
Okay, yeah,
Did it
yeah.
catch
Yeah,
up?
yeah, yeah. Start your point again.
Yeah. So because of the strikes that happened during the summer and stuff, like I don't know how far in advance TV kind of like sets their programming, but because of like the writers and because of the acting strikes, like, Hollywood, a lot of things got pushed back. Like it had huge implications of like things being stalled. So like they do have to fill out their time slots. So I'm thinking that's probably part of it. I still hope that the hour 30 minutes retains even when Hollywood has like caught up to everything,
Uh-huh.
because like with the reception with this season, it being good, like because they look at the numbers, they look at like, oh, this was well received, so
Yeah.
therefore the longer runtime is working. Whenever they try something new, they're like, oh, or different, they're like, does the different thing benefit? So
Yeah. Yeah, and it does the best ratings out of anything in this time slot. Survivor just beats everything in its time slot. So, uh, let it have the time. Like clearly,
yeah,
this is your best thing, CBS. Like this is the thing that is driving, a lot of viewership. Like it's the reason I have Paramount Plus. I would not have Paramount Plus if Survivor was not a thing.
fair point. And a lot of the stuff that I watch on Paramount Plus, granted they have some cool exclusives, things like that,
Yeah,
but I watch those exclusive because I do have Paramount Plus.
yeah.
And it's like I'm not gonna cancel and like subscribe back again just for whenever Survivor comes on or whatnot. Because that's one, doesn't always work because businesses are shady. And then two, it's also like, well, I have it, and like that's a hassle to just do it and undo it. And there is some cool stuff on there. Like I've watched more Big Brother because, oh, I have
Uh-huh.
this. So like even if it's like an off season for both, I can be like, all right, if I want to get my reality TV fix, get caught up on some seasons I haven't watched on Big Brother, so that way I have more context for things in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, which by the way, 2 years or 2 seasons in a row for Big Brother, my pregame winner pick ended up winning the game.
Yeah, I really liked Jag. He was cool.
Yeah.
Which also like he broke records as well, him having the most veto wins. And like granted, I feel bad for I forget what the dude's name was last season because he had that it was kind of like a short-lived reign he had as like the most veto comp wins. But
Yeah.
like Jag just like crushed it. He played like such a dominating game with Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, he
That
also is. I believe I don't know Big Brother history too well, but I believe the first house guest to be voted out to return and then win the game.
yeah, maybe. Like I said, I'm still catching up. I've seen one through
Yeah,
All Stars, a few of the teams, and then
yeah. That's
basically
why I try to give kind of like a I think so.
disclaimer. Yeah.
Yeah. There
Um,
might be some weird other random thing that happened that I don't know about, but
you never know. You never
yeah,
know. But yeah. Um, but yeah, I feel like Survivor, obviously, it's what brought us together. Like
yeah,
we were like more acquaintances before this, but now like we're friends. We meet up every week. Like and like gave us both something to do during the pandemic, like,
yeah.
talk about it and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So like,
definitely yeah, I mean, especially when you started doing all those brand steals, like that was like highlight of the week every time was, being
yeah,
able to talk Survivor during, our Survivor drought where we weren't able to get anything Survivor related, being able to create our own universe for our brand
yeah,
steal. Which by the way, we have a Discord now. If you click the link below this video, you can join our Discord.
yeah,
And I put confessional counts there too, so you can follow the confessionals, um, talk all things Brand Steel and Survivor related. So
yeah.
um,
Um,
definitely check it out.
yeah. And with the brand steals and stuff too, there are some times where I'm watching something and then afterwards I'm like, all right, is there someone I can bring for a brand steal from this?
Hmm.
Usually it means like, oh, I really like the character. So like, and like sometimes as we're growing closer to the end of the year, I'm like, huh, who do I want to bring for the 2023 brand steel? I have a few good
Yeah.
ones in mind. Um, and then like hell, even someone on Facebook was like, for a character I played in a Darman video, was like, hey, you really need to bring this character into a brand steel. And one, that's like flattering that I have a fan that watches both, and two, um, I was like, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I would love to see, this character I played because we brought in characters we played before
Yeah.
into Brand Steel. Um, so like, I do think about the Brand Steels a lot and being like, oh, who could I bring to like All Stars? Or if I'm doing like if I'm setting up Christmas lights, which is one of my seasonal job, and we were about to film like All Star 19, I was like, all right, who do I feel like bringing? While my mind is adrift while I'm clipping in lights or whatnot.
Mhm.
Uh, it is something where it's definitely on my mind a lot, and yeah,
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it's great to be back, Ryan. It's great to be able to get back talking Survivor. I'm excited for the rest of the season. I'm
same.
definitely hoping, that it can keep up this pace. It's definitely going very strong. And well, yeah, we're just gonna have to see if it continues or if if we keep losing maybe some big personalities. I mean, losing Caleb and Kelly, I feel like those were two pretty pivotal people to the story that was being
Yeah,
told.
I mean, I know we brought up 43.
Mhm.
And I feel like 43 did suffer from because it came to that final six where it was like, okay,
Yeah,
you have Cody, you have yeah, you have like Jesse, you got, so many great people like in the end. But like around that point, they were starting to trickle out. They were starting to be voted off. And then we
yeah,
had a final three of like Gabler, Owen, and Cassidy.
yeah,
And then it wasn't like that they were like bad players or stuff. It's just like, oh, you gave us like half of the final six were awesome players.
Yeah.
And then the three players we really liked that we wanted to like win got eliminated. And it was like,
Yeah. Yeah, it was the doomsday scenario, which is unfortunate because it is a great season up until like you then look at the final three.
yeah,
But like because people I think see the Gabler, people have been saying it's the worst season of the modern era, which I just don't think is
no,
true at all.
no. I mean, like, I still think that given like out of the three, yeah, it would have been cool to see Owen win. And like, yeah, I feel like Cassidy deserved more votes. But Gabler winning, it's hard to argue with the thing of like how he donated everything to like
Yeah.
vet stuff. Like, I'm the son of two veterans, so like it's hard for me to be like, oh no, it's the worst because like Gabler
Yeah.
did good things with the money. And so like I
Yeah.
can't say that he's a bad winner
It
in
was
that regard.
also the most shocked like I had ever been in Survivor in a very long time, and like to me that is something that is actually like to me that actually added to the season for me
I
was
was yeah. Like I was that's when if you guys want to watch the vlog, because I went to the finale viewing party for Bryson Wen, and I was like shocked. I thought I entered a different reality for a second.
yeah,
Um, I was
yeah.
like, wait, did someone put something in my drink? Uh, like, hold
Uh,
on, this is real.
yeah,
But it was
yeah.
cool. Yeah, I think in hindsight, maybe I don't mind it as much. But like, in the moment, I was like, oh, man, Gabler won. It was like, but like, some people were even behind the whole Gabler winning thing.
Yeah.
Like genuinely.
If you watch it back, it is there. Like his winning edit is there. It's just when watching it live, you just didn't believe that he could win, so you just disregarded all of his winning edits.
And that's the perception thing we were talking about earlier in this.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's we'll see. We still got at least like 5 more episodes or something to get here for Survivor. So we'll
Yeah.
see how this season continues.
Yeah. All right. So we just got LVP and MVP. Do we want to do for both episodes or
Yeah, I think we should probably do one for episode 7, one for episode 8.
all right, for episode 7, I think it's tricky because it handles both.
Yeah.
Um, I'll
Um,
let you go first.
yeah, uh I think I am. It's weird too because I think I'm going to give it to Kelly, even though I know what happens in the next episode.
Yeah.
I'm still giving it to Kelly just because I think that she did make the right decision of keeping Bruce because you I'm looking like if she didn't get weirdly taken out in that next episode,
Yeah.
that Bruce would have been on the jury, and if she made it to the end, would have been a very easy vote for her, and would have been probably someone who would have been her cheerleader.
Yeah. I might give it to the flip side of that, D, mostly
Mhm.
because she was able to get everyone to the jury. She's won out overall, and she's just still in a pretty great position in the
Yeah,
game. And she got revenge on Caleb basically for
yeah,
outing her.
nice. So yeah, but we chose both people who won immunity also.
Yeah. I will give LVP to unfortunately Jake because I feel like he tried to
Yeah.
make a big move and it just wasn't landing. And I feel even though like and it was funny, one thing I will mention, the edit, like they did like a flash forward, like it was almost like Ocean's where they're talking about the plan. And with reality TV, that's a little tricky, like how they're at tribal council and like showing like how the votes will play out, things like that. I feel like the condition for him to actually
Oh,
far-fetched, but it was kind of like out there a little.
yeah.
So I might just give it to Jake because he had to do a lot of damage control afterwards.
Yeah, yeah, I agree too. I think Jake was the one who deserves to. I don't think he would have been in trouble in episode 8 if it wasn't because of his episode 7 debacle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a good choice for LVP.
And then for MVP of this current episode or episode 8, I am actually going to give it to Austin because like now he has two full-fledged idols.
Mhm.
He seems to be right in the numbers, and I feel like he probably has one of the best positions in the game. And also the fish.
Uh-huh.
And he was one of the few people to actually get two items out of the auction.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I am going to give it to his duo in Drew because Drew is the one who did come up with the plan to take out Kelly. He
Yeah,
was the one who said, "Hey guys, I got this idea. Why don't we do Kelly?" And clearly, I think he knows about Austin's amulets, and so I think he just saw that this is the opportunity. Clearly, Abello was going to have to go home here.
yeah.
Why not take out the person that can give you an extra idol here? And
And
yeah.
yeah. And the whole female alliance that she was trying to like get behind as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it was to me very clear that he was the brains behind taking out, a huge power player that gave them even more power moving forward.
Fair point, fair point. LVP. I don't
Hmm.
want to give it to Jake two in a row. I feel like it makes sense because he kind of wasted his shard in the dark.
Yeah, but I do think that he had a decent tribal council as well,
Yeah.
actually, about kind of like he lied about, like saying, in case I have to play my idol, and then he kind of like caught himself, but like
Yeah, yeah,
fake
yeah.
caught himself, but like I think
It's
that I think he did that pretty well. So
I
um
feel like it's one of the things where I wouldn't have fallen for it, mostly because I've seen his remember his acting skills when he was trying to cover up Bruce's
the
idol hunt.
rings. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I can't find my rings. And he was just like
And
making
then
a
he
big deal.
winks at the camera.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Like, if not for him, I'm trying to think who else. I don't want to. I could, in theory, give it to Bruce, but
Yeah.
he kind of recovered by winning the thing, so he kind of saved his butt.
Yeah, it's weird because I do think that he had a terrible episode. Like they were
Yeah.
to me, I thought he was going home this episode because they were so like letting you know about how everyone despises Bruce now. And
Yeah.
I think I am actually going to give it to him because I just think that he has no social awareness to be able to know that everyone is against him. Like clearly him losing his ally is gonna be shocking. Like at least that's what we're being shown. But I still
Yeah.
don't know if he would even play his idol in this next episode. I think that he's gonna have like a conversation with D Austin or Drew, and then suddenly think that he's fine and he could still get taken out because he just doesn't know his situation.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I can see him having that pride cometh before fall kind
Mhm.
of storyline.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. But I think, yeah, justified because like that was the one thing that was stopping me, the fact that he did win immunity.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty valid. But yeah, I think that's everything. Um,
Yeah. Well, awesome. That yeah, I guess that does it here for this double recap episode. Um
all right.
yeah, no, it's been great. Yeah, I definitely how about we each choose our top 3 right now in terms of winners.
All right. I'm gonna go with Austin, Emily, and for that third spot, I might give it to D.
Mhm.
I feel like she's still in a pretty good position, even though her name has been brought up a few times. Um, yeah, I would say probably D.
Okay. Well, we have pretty much the same different order. I have Emily, D, and Austin as my 3. So it does seem like those might be the 3 most likely, based off of what we're seeing so far.
Agreed, agreed.
Yeah.
Because Bello, Kendra, I can see kind of like getting a being brought to the end because she hasn't been a major threat.
Hmm.
We've talked about Bruce. Um, just the edit and just like how he's been playing, doesn't think he's gonna make it to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, I could give, I don't know, like other than her talking about Bruce, Katura hasn't really shined as
Yeah.
much as like other contestants.
Yeah. If she was winning this game, her storyline would not be all focused on taking out Bruce.
Yeah.
It
Um,
would be more dynamic. There would be other
it's
things
almost
going
like a
on.
it's almost like a Ryan and Cassidy thing. We're circling back
Yeah.
to 43. The thing that stops her from being a Carla, it's like she could have potentially been like Carla 2.0, but like it's looking like more she's like Ryan from 43, where she's so hyper fixated.
Yeah.
Or all the confessionals are like, we need to get rid of Bruce or Cassidy as it was in 43.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Um yeah, and then yeah, I think Austin and D are the most likely for Reba in terms
Yeah,
of edits. I think Drew, even though I did give him like MVP for episode 8, I just feel like he's a good strategic player, but I don't see him actually garnering votes at the end.
agreed.
I don't even know if he makes the end, honestly. I kind of can see him getting taken out around like 7 or 6. Um
It's fair.
and being in that kind of like strong player, but you kind of got to cut him so that way D and Austin don't have like a very easy path to the end.
He does seem like he does seem like someone where he does seem, I don't want to say leader, but on the forefront of a lot of decision making.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he definitely made has made most of the decisions in terms of
Yeah.
what's going on in the game. And he does do some really smart things with like Katura in this episode where he was like, who do you want to see go home, when he clearly knew she was going to say Bruce.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah.
said he wanted Bruce to go home, and so he was trying to kind of, you know, get
Trying
her
to
to.
inception that idea. Well, not, I wouldn't say it's inception. The idea is already in her head, but like more
Yeah.
so like people are more likely to go with your idea if they believe it's their idea.
Exactly. So by doing that, he wasn't telling her what to do. He was letting her make the decision that he wanted.
Yeah. Um, all right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I believe that's everything.
Okay.
Um, I'm pretty sure we will we'll probably put one out Thursday for Thanksgiving, right? Because like I'm free
Um
Wednesday night. I know this is stuff we usually talk about, but also because I don't want to be like, oh, happy Thanksgiving if we're just gonna say it and
yeah, yeah. We'll probably record after the
Wednesday
episode.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. I'm always for that. Anyway, we will see you guys next week. Have a fun weekend. If you're already on Turkey Day break, awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, enjoy, have some fun times, enjoy the chill, whatever age you are, if or if you work and your boss is just like, yeah, just take the week off, whatever it be.
Mhm.
Yeah, just enjoy this time.
Exactly, exactly. And we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.